Give me a break. Hey, how can taking time off be part of fulfilling the will of God? That's the topic here on today's video blog post. Hi, my name is Pastor Danish House. I'm the senior pastor of New Beginnings Church in Poughkeepsie, New York. It's good to have you here on today's video blog. My family and I just got back from a week-long vacation on beautiful Cuttyhunk Island in Massachusetts. It's a place that that I've gone with my family since I was 1 year old, and I've been taking my kids there since they were born. It's beautiful, surrounded by ocean. It's an island, and but perfectly quiet, no cars. A great place to sort of relax and take a break. Sometimes people might ask, well, why is it? I mean, you're a pastor. You've got lots of folks who need you, and you need to be there to preach. You need to be there to visit people in the hospital. Why? How come you can feel like you can take a break? Isn't your work the work of God? Well, remember back in the Old Testament, in the Ten Commandments, God had given to Israel in the covenant this idea of remembering the Sabbath day to keep it holy, a Sabbath rest. God tied it back to his work in creation. He created the earth in 6 days, and on the seventh day he rested. And God said, I've made this Sabbath for you. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. How is it that taking a day off is fulfilling the work of God? Well, think about it this way. It's an interesting thing. Back in the Old Testament days as well, the Israelites started their day at sundown. You ever think about that? You look back at Genesis chapter 1, when God's creating the heavens and the earth. There was evening and then there was morning the first day. There was evening and then there was morning the second day. The Sabbath starts at the sundown of Friday and goes till sundown Saturday. That's how they counted their days. The day started with the sundown. Now, what happens if you're in that culture at sundown? There's no electric lights. You have certainly oil lamps, but oil is very expensive. When the sun went down, people went to sleep. So for the ancient Hebrews, their day started when they went to bed. When does our day start in our culture? Well, it starts when the alarm goes off, right? Actually, usually for us, it starts when the alarm goes off, we hit snooze. The alarm goes off again, we hit snooze again. The alarm goes off again, we hit snooze again. And finally, after the fourth time, we get up. And then our day starts. Our day starts when we enter into it. But for the ancient Jews, the day started when they went to bed. The day didn't start with their own activity. The day started with the activity of God. The ancient Jewish worldview was one in which it wasn't their arrival into the day that made the day start. It was God's arrival into the day. How does that have to do with Sabbath? Well, the same is true of Sabbath. God is the Lord of time. And by working 6 days and then resting on the seventh, what you're implicitly saying is that the work of the world doesn't depend on me. The work of the world depends on God. By remembering the Sabbath day, keeping it holy, by taking that time off, what you're saying is I'm trusting God for the completion of my work. I can't complete it on my own. Well, that's the principle behind vacations as well. The idea for a pastor of a vacation, and for anybody for a vacation, is to say, hey, look, there are too many things for me to do. I've got more things to do than I could do. But I'm not the one who's really important here. It's God who is important. When I take a vacation, what I'm saying is I am not the essential component in the life of this church. The essential component in the life of this church is Jesus Christ, and he's here. Now, I realize that another component of vacation is actually having the wherewithal to take it, and I'm grateful that God has given me the ability to take time off on vacation. For some people, taking a week away is not something that you can afford to do. But you certainly can afford to take a Sabbath each week. You certainly can afford to take 1 day each week in which life does not depend on you, but it depends on God. And I know that seems like a highfalutin way to talk about a vacation, but I want you to think about your life today. Do you work every day? Do you live every day as if life depended on your work? Or do you live every day as if life depended on the work of God? Do you feel as though if you're not there to handle something, it just can't get handled? Do you feel as though you have to take care of the problems and the difficulties of everybody around you? This vacation, there were a couple of times during our vacation when certain people weren't happy. We went with a bunch of family members, and certain decisions that were made didn't make everybody happy. My wife had to tell me, Danish, look, it's not your responsibility to make everybody happy. That's hard for me as a person to understand, and as a pastor it's hard for me to understand as well. But how do you feel about that? Do you feel like it's your responsibility to make sure everything runs smooth? Or is it God's responsibility to take care of those things? Maybe your frantic work is a sign that you're not trusting God to take care of things. I don't know, it's something to ponder. Hey, thanks for joining me for today's video blog. God bless you. Take some time off, okay? And go in peace.